You know the feeling. The senseless rules, the endless waiting, the complete alienation. That's what we call Kafkaesque. We read The Metamorphosis and think we understand the genius. But the dark truth about Franz Kafka is this. He hated his own work so much, he ordered every single word of it destroyed. He spent his life writing the most profound examinations of the human condition, only to judge himself a failure. And that self-judgment, that crippling existential dread, is the real key to understanding him. This is not the story of the writer. It's the story of the man who tried to erase himself from history and why his best friend betrayed him. Kafka wasn't a bohemian playwright sipping coffee in Paris. He was a clerk, a highly meticulous, utterly miserable clerk for the Workers' Accident Insurance Institute for the Kingdom of Bohemia. His job description? Deciding how much money people who lost limbs in factory accidents should receive. He was drowning in real-life bureaucracy, injury reports, and endless paperwork. This wasn't inspiration. This was torture. Every single day, he witnessed the sheer grinding indifference of the system. The novels weren't philosophical exercises, they were trauma reports. He poured his daily humiliation into the manuscripts, desperate for release, only to wake up the next morning and do it all again. It was a vicious loop that powered his terrifying imagination. But the true origin of his dread wasn't the office. It was his father, Hermann Kafka, a massive, domineering man, a self-made merchant who despised his son's frailty and his silly hobby of writing. This wasn't just typical parental disagreement, it was psychological warfare. Kafka's entire struggle with authority, with distant judges and incomprehensible courts, stems from his relationship with Hermann. He channeled this lifetime of psychological abuse into the explosive Letter to His Father, a 100-page document where he tried to finally articulate his despair, only to have his mother intervene and ensure Hermann never read it. The man who invented the modern nightmare couldn't even stand up to his own dad. This inner conflict made genuine intimacy impossible. Kafka was engaged 5 times, never married. He was desperately in love with writing, but he believed that writing required absolute monastic solitude. He wrote to his fiancée Felice Bauer, saying marriage was impossible. "It is my only true passion, and it is impossible to combine it with ordinary life." He feared that happiness, or even just stability, would destroy the source of his genius, his suffering. In a grotesque twist of irony, the very man who could articulate universal alienation so perfectly could not sustain a simple human relationship. By the time he turned 40, his misery had become terminal. He was dying of laryngeal tuberculosis, his throat too raw to speak, forcing him to communicate via small notes. As he lay dying, he faced his final judgment, his own literary output. He gathered his closest friend, Max Brod, and delivered the chilling final request. This wasn't a suggestion, it was a command. He wanted his entire body of work, including the unfinished manuscripts of The Trial, The Castle, and all his notebooks and letters, to be burned immediately, unread. Kafka believed his work was incomplete, flawed, and fundamentally unworthy of existence. It was the ultimate act of self-erasure. The darkest truth is that one of the most important writers of the 20th century explicitly tried to make sure we never heard of him. Max Brod was facing an impossible choice. He could honor the final wish of his dearest friend, the man who valued integrity and friendship above all else, or he could betray that trust and save the world from an unimaginable loss. Brod himself admitted the manuscripts were chaotic. Some were fragmentary, covered in crossouts, and many were deeply personal. Brod ultimately chose the betrayal. He smuggled the manuscripts out of Prague, defining the dying wish, and began the arduous process of editing, publishing, and curating Kafka's legacy. This act of defiance is why we know Kafka today. It's why you've heard of The Trial. It's a spectacular, necessary betrayal that gave us modern literature, but it's a betrayal Kafka never wanted. Broad carried that burden until his death. So, what does this dark truth mean? It means the writings we cherish, the ones that perfectly capture our fragmented, corporate, anxiety-ridden world, were never meant for us. They were highly personal attempts by a deeply troubled man to purge the torment he felt. By trying to destroy them, Kafka was attempting to destroy the pain. But Max Broad's betrayal forced Kafka's pain onto the world stage, and the irony is brutal. The themes of his books, the inescapable judgment, the labyrinthian institutions, the feeling that your life is being controlled by forces you can't see, these feelings have only grown stronger a century later. We are living in the ultimate Kafkaesque reality, a reality he desperately wanted to burn away. Kafka spent his whole life trying to escape the judgment of the world, of his father, and of himself. He tried to end his story with a column of smoke and ash. He failed. The deepest irony of Kafka's life is that by attempting the ultimate act of erasure, he guaranteed his own immortality. His painful, unfinished, and deeply personal manuscripts transcended his own self-loathing and gave us the vocabulary to understand our own absurd struggles. Now go share this story and maybe pick up one of the books he tried so hard to destroy, because if we ever needed Kafka, it's now.